Miss Candice Macro,
Yes.
welcome to the interview. Have a seat. How are you doing today?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Well, couldn't be better. And thank you for your interest in our company. I'm Olivia, by the way. And today I'm going to ask you a series of questions about yourself. And throughout this conversation, I want you to feel free to ask me anything about the industry and the position that you're applying for. Are you ready?
Yes.
Perfect. So why don't you start by you telling me something about yourself?
Sure, I graduated from a computer programming course, but I ended up working in customer service for a milk tea store for 2 years. I worked there alone, both as a cashier and a service crew, which means that I was responsible for everything in the store, from organizing it, preparing the food, interacting with the customer, and processing the payments. It was a demanding job, but I loved it. And when I saw that you're hiring for customer service reps, and that is highly related to my experience, I just knew that I had to apply.
Why do you want to work in our company?
Well, I've heard a lot of good things about your company, but one that interests me the most is your Ascend program, where you help or you train your employees to learn new skills, useful skills that you can use in the workplace, like public speaking, leadership training. And I think that's very impressive for a call center company. I think that you place high importance on learning and growth.
Right.
And I think that it's not something that one can easily find in any call center company. So I definitely want to be a part of your company because of that.
Okay. You said that you loved your previous job, but why did you quit?
I left for 2 reasons. First, I want to upgrade my skills. I have been handling customer service locally. It was a great experience. It was helpful, but I think it's time for me to explore on an international level. Second, for someone in my situation, I think I would have a better shot financially and career-wise if I joined this industry.
Okay. In what way would working in this industry be beneficial to you career-wise?
Well, career-wise, I know that it'll sharpen my communication skills. That is a huge plus to anyone because wherever you go, whether you're in a high or entry-level position, a great communication skill is something that will always be useful to you. And I think it's a prerequisite to anyone who wants to have a career. And I want to have a career. And I think I can achieve that by joining this industry.
Okay. Some people say that working in a BPO industry, in a call center industry, is a dead-end job. Do you agree?
No, absolutely not. This job has disadvantages, just like any other, but I don't think this is a dead-end job. I know some agents who were promoted to a higher position and they started off as agents. I also know some who are no longer working in this industry and are now working for higher paying jobs in a related industry, like online freelancing, for example. And a lot of them told me that they don't think that they would have gotten to where they are now had they not worked in this industry. So that doesn't sound like a dead-end job to me because there's progress.
I definitely agree. I have plenty of friends who started out as agents and they're currently thriving in this industry. But may I ask, why didn't you pursue computer programming? I see here that you finished it successfully. Why did you work in a milk tea store after graduation?
It's a long story, but I only finished a 2-year course, a vocational course technically. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to find a job with this level of education, but it is definitely a struggle. I experienced it firsthand when I was competing with degree holders. And at that time, my funds were already running out, and I was only left with two choices: either to go back to the province and be jobless, and or to find a job immediately. And I chose the latter because I wanted to stay in the city and explore other opportunities. And so it just so happened that a milk tea store was hiring, and I managed to get in, and I ended up liking it.
Do you have plans to pursue computer programming in the future?
Not really. I love programming. I loved programming, and I think I was decent at it, but I don't think I'm going to pursue it any longer. My interest now lies in the BPO industry.
And where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
It's hard to tell, and I don't want to sound too ambitious, but I would love to be in a higher position where I can specialize in one area, and then I can use that skill to impact the company positively. But as to what that expertise is, I am not sure. I cannot really tell for now, but I definitely see myself in the BPO industry 5 years from now.
Within those 2 years of working as a cashier and service crew, what was the hardest experience you had with a customer and how did you deal with it?
Okay. So there's this one customer who insisted that she already paid, even if she didn't. I remember when I asked for the payment, she just replied, "What are you talking about? I already gave you a 1,000 peso bill. Where's my change?" And of course, I was taken aback because she didn't give me any money. I was 100% sure of that. And so I told her firmly but respectfully that, "Ma'am, you haven't given me any money." And after that, something strange happened. She turned red. She stared at me wide-eyed, and she said, "How dare you accuse me of not paying? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And she was repeating that, and the customers were already watching her, were already staring at her, and for a moment, I didn't know what to do because it was something that I hadn't really experienced with another customer. But the good thing was, I realized that there's a CCTV in front of us. So I told her, "Ma'am, I don't want any trouble. I am not accusing you of anything. How about we have that CCTV checked so we can confirm whether or not a bill was handed to me?" And all of a sudden, she just gave me the exact amount and she walked out without a word.
Wow. Did this happen on a regular basis with your job?
Fortunately, no. I find that Filipino customers are usually reasonable and they're patient. But I heard, and feel free to confirm or deny, but I heard that Western customers aren't so patient. Is that true?
Well, I would say that it's still a case to case basis, and ultimately it depends on the individual. But yes, generally, Western customers do tend to be less patient, or more accurately, I would say that they have higher standards of customer service. But what do you think? Do you think you can handle irate Western customers?
I am confident that I can, yes. I have dealt with customers face to face, and I believe I can also handle them over the phone. I am not downplaying the difficulty that comes with talking to people who don't share your language and your culture, but I believe that my experience in customer service is a solid foundation for that.
Confident. I like that. And how do you usually de-stress?
I'm sorry?
When you're stressed, what do you do to de-stress?
Oh, well, I read fiction novels, specifically fantasy books. It just helps me de-stress. It feels like a mini vacation for me, and I don't have to pay for a vacation, but it's a vacation. And Another thing is I also do cardio every other day. It just helps with my mood overall.
And what is your greatest weakness?
Well, I'm terrible at making small talk, and I used to convince myself that it isn't really a weakness and that small talk is superficial anyway. But of course, I realized that it's an essential part of communication. And so now, every chance I get, I interact with strangers. I try to smile at them and interact with them at parties. So I'm still not the greatest at it, but I am improving, even if it's just little by little.
And was there ever a time when making small talk yielded a positive result for you?
Yes, definitely. I got to meet my best friend Joy 3 years ago at a party because I made the first awkward step to talk to her. The thing about us is we're both introverts, so we're not so talkative. And so the chances of us connecting effortlessly was low. But because I made the first step, I now have a best friend who shares my interest.
I can sense that you're very enthusiastic about this industry and you seem to be very open to new experiences, and that's a good thing. But what do you know about the tasks of a call center agent? Do you have an idea?
Based on my research, because I have done a lot of research on this, call center agents talk to customers about products and services. It could be inbound, where the customers are calling the call center, the agents, to ask for help about something. For example, the other day I called Globe about a missing prepaid load, and an agent helped me recover it. I think that was inbound. And there's another setup which is outbound, where the one doing the calling are the agents, and they're calling the customers to either sell something or to conduct a survey. So that's outbound. And lastly, I know that being a call center agent is not an easy job. That's all I know.
Okay, that pretty much sums it all up. Are you amenable to working the graveyard shift?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and how about shifting schedules? You could be working the day shift this month and night shift the next. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Great. Okay. This is an unusual question, but why do you think manholes are round?
I'm sorry, but I don't know what a manhole is. Could you explain for me?
Okay. Manholes are basically underground holes where a human could enter, so he could access the sewer system of a city, for instance. It's used to access the sewer system, and you would usually see them on sidewalks and pavements.
Oh, I think I see what you mean. I think I have an idea. Yes.
And they're usually round, not triangle, not square, not rectangle. Why do you think is it that they are round?
Can you give me a moment to think about it?
Sure, of course. Take your time.
I think that to answer that question, one would have to ask what would happen if manholes are built as squares or rectangles as opposed to round. And I think the answer to that is if they're built as squares, then the cover would fall off easily into the hole if it's placed in a wrong position. Whereas if you build a manhole cover with a round shape, then I don't think that problem happens if it's a perfect round. So I guess they're building it round for convenience. That's my opinion.
And how would you describe color red to a blind person since birth?
Okay, I think I would describe it in a way that a blind person could relate to. He couldn't see, he doesn't have a sense of sight, but he could feel my description by me using the other functioning senses, like the sense of taste, touch, smell, just as an anchor to help him understand a color.
Okay, pretend that I am that blind person. Describe red to me right now.
Okay, so think of red as something warm and nourishing. It's the warmth you feel when you're sipping a hot tinola on a rainy day.
Okay.
It could also be the warm kiss of someone you love or the warm hug by a lover. It's passionate, it's warm, it's red.
And why should we hire you?
Okay, aside from my job experience and my intention to stay in this industry long term, I do not shy away from irate customers. I never shy away from them, even if it's uncomfortable. I have experienced handling them. I know how to handle them, and I have the mental strength to do it.
Well, our interview is about to end. And my last question is, do you have any questions for me?
About the job?
Yes, anything related to the job
Okay.
and the industry.
Well, you said a while ago that you have plenty of friends in this industry and they're thriving. What do you think do they have in common in terms of that one factor that contributed to them being successful in this industry? Because I seriously would love to know.
Well, that's a good question. And I think that it has something to do with them being willing to go above and beyond in whatever it is they're doing, whether for the customers, the clients, or the company. They just don't put in their bare minimum. They work harder, and it's only a matter of time before these types of people get noticed and offered higher positions. I think that's it. Going above and beyond in whatever it is you're doing.
That makes so much sense. I will definitely keep that in mind for inspiration.
All right, that concludes our interview for today. Thank you so much, Candace, for your time. And could you wait outside and tell the others that I'll be there in, let's say, 10 minutes? I will be announcing the results.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Olivia. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Bye.